Okay, good afternoon, guys. Sorry I'm a bit late. I had a visitor, so I had to sort of nip off a little bit. So my apologies. Okay, so I hope everyone's doing well. Let me just have a little look what's going on today. Okay, so we're looking like a range, I think, the start of it. So Indy, how you doing, bud? I am showing up for work. That's the beauty of working for yourself. You can do whatever you want. Ionis, how you doing? Akitri, how are you? I guess not. I am here, so hopefully you guys are still here. Let me just have a look. Yeah, I think there's still a few here, isn't it? Okay, right, let's have a little look. Looks like we're ranging, I think. So let's just do that like that. Bit of a break, 2 legs push up. Yeah, we seem to be just ranging at the moment. Anybody here? Anybody here, are they? Let me just move this over a little bit. I think we're all good. Okay. Akitra, how are you doing? Yeah, sorry, my apologies. H, how are you? Yeah. We had a visitor, and I had to pop down and say hello. Someone we don't see often. So, okay. Let's have a look. Chris, how you doing? Loik, how are you? FZen, how you doing, bud? Michael, how you doing, Michael? I did get your chart. I just had a look at it. It still bewilders me, mate. It still scares me. Indy, you're still here. Excellent. Okay. So let me have a little look. Okay, so yeah, it definitely seems like a range. Surprise, surprise. That's all we seem to get nowadays is ranges, isn't it? Yesterday was just a range, just sideways. So I haven't been taking a lot of trades lately. It's just a bit weird. Whether I've gone a little bit too strict or not, I don't know. But you know when you seem to get out the swing of taking trades and then you start to feel a bit like you can't see anything? It's just a bit weird, isn't it? So we'll see how we get on anyway. So we got a channel down here. You can see there's a little bit of support there. We seem to have come under that support and pushing down. So my next port of call is down the bottom. I was going to say something to you guys. I can't remember what it was now. What was it? It'll come to me. I forget what it was. It's thin pickings for Pats at the moment. Yeah, it is a bit, mate. I feel like I'm a bit out of the rhythm. Now, I look back on a few of the trades I lost last week, and they were a little bit, well, I was stretching the barrel a little bit, I think. You got 50k above payout level. Good for you, mate. How much do you take out to? Does not leave much room. Okay. I've changed my mind over the last couple of years what I think. The plan was initially to build up and build up and build up. Now, I would say if it's your first payment or your first few, I would take the money because I think it does a lot for you mentally. You get a good sense of achievement. You actually have a little bit of money to put back in. You are right that it doesn't leave you a lot. If you get to, say, 2.6, we know your drawdown stops at 5,100. So you effectively have $500, don't you? So what I would do is to reduce that down to one contract. So effectively, you've got to lose 3 in a row. If you think you're going to lose 3 in a row, or you do regularly, then I would probably take it down to micros. But initially, for the first few payments, I would probably take some money because it does make you feel good, make you feel like you've achieved something. So that is my opinion. I also like the way the Alpine guy does it as well. Let me just check here. I like the way the Alpine guy does it. When he gets a payment, every single time he gets above that 2,600, sometimes he'll get, 3,200 or 4,500. He takes a payment and then he reduces the risk. So he continues to get regular payment. Let's see if you're using your own money. You need 500 margin. Absolutely. If you wanted to trade one contract, you need to put $500 in. So trading your own money sounds, well, in a weird way, it's expensive, if you know what I mean. It sounds a bit odd, that, but, you know, if I want to trade an account, we'll call it a $50,000 account. I don't know why they call it that. It's not really. All it is, with zero drawdown, absolutely. You start to get in the red straight away. You get margin calls, and if you don't sort that out, they'll liquidate them for you. We'll call it $50,000 account. It's not, but we'll call it that. So effectively, what you've got is $2,500 to play with. Now, if you wanted $2,500 to play with in your own account, that would cost you $2,500 if that was your own account. But all it really costs you is $140 because you're using Apex's account. So it's a much better way of doing it. But I would say in the early days when you're starting to get your first few payments, like Sam did the other week, it was about a month ago. He'd been trading I think Sam's been trading for 2.5, 3 years, something like that. And he quite a few times, which I think most of us did, I certainly did, got very close to payout and messed up, but he got a payout, and it is a great sense of achievement. It does the world of good to you mentally, because as we know, trading, there's so many downfalls, and there's so many times where your head space is in the gutter, isn't it? So my personal opinion is, if it's one of your first few, take the money, invest a little bit, treat yourself, enjoy it. You know, that's my opinion. That's what I do. But I get it. If people, it depends what type of person you are. If you're very strict and you can hold on to it and you've got confidence in yourself, I didn't. I know what I'm like sometimes, but I would say, yeah, enjoy some of it. You know, take your wife out for a meal, or your girlfriend out, or whatever. And then, you know, add a couple of extra accounts. I think when you get a payment, that's the time to start building your accounts. Maybe just to 2 or 3. I wouldn't go crazy. I know Wilson had $200,000 accounts and ended up losing them slowly, which is a shame because Wilson's a lovely guy. But sometimes if you take on too much, it does add pressure. At the moment, I've got 3 PAs, and I kind of like that. When I get my next payment, I want to build it up to 5 and so on. I think if you build up too quick, it adds too much pressure. So that's my opinion anyway. I would say there is a little bit of, yeah, I thought as much. We're struggling a bit there. Leg down 1. We've already made a new low. We could go triple test here. I'm just not sure about this. We'll have to see. So once, twice, 3 times. Rodian, how are you, my friend? What's the other side of the world looking like this time? I bet it's dark, isn't it? That's what I love about technology. Doing good, excellent. I love about technology. You can chat with someone live the other side of the world. Still blows me away. Question: any of you guys got our daylight savings ended, so it's a lot earlier now, is it? Yeah. I know the US went forward about 3 weeks before us. I didn't think it was that much. I'm sure last time it was about a week. But I was trading at 1:30 in the afternoon as opposed to, well, it was at 11:30. Yeah, it's still late for you guys, isn't it? Just wondering if you'd be better off trading sort of UK markets. That would be sort of more early morning, wouldn't it? But at the end of the day, the thing is about the NQ and the ES, like you say, New York markets, they're sort of, you know, they have a good amount of liquidity in them, so, you know, it works out well. There's plenty of money moving around. But unfortunately, if you live where you live, the other side of the world, you're kind of stuck with it, really, aren't you? But what I will say anyway, you can trade for 2 or 3 hours, so it's not like you've got to put a full day in, is it? So, but yeah, I know what you mean. You've got a full-time job and you're trading until 2 in the morning. If you've got to be up for sort of 7 or 7:30, you can get a bit whacked, can't you? Yeah. What is going on here? It's stacking up a little bit on the NQ. Question. Apple Watch. The Apple Watch Ultra. Any of you guys got it, and what do you think? I'm just sick of carrying my phone around with me all the time. Trouble is, now the summer's coming up and you're walking around in shorts, t-shirts and flip-flops all the time. It's a pain in the arse to have your wallet on you and your phone on you. I've got a habit of when I go out for a drink of losing stuff I have. Especially if you've got shorts on, so I'm thinking Apple Watch Ultra. Nice and robust. You can use it to pay for stuff, can't you? And you can use it to make phone calls. What do you guys think? Anybody got it? What do you think? Game changer? We've got like a used store in the UK called CX, and there's one in there, beautiful condition for £400. I think they're normally just under 800 over here on Amazon, so it's kind of a good deal, that. So if any of you guys have got the Apple Watch, good. The Apple Watch Ultra, good or not good? Let me know what you think. Shoot, how am I going to do that? No Apple products allowed. You know, I was always Samsung. I always had Samsung phones right from, I think the first Samsung I had was the Samsung 6. But I can't remember why I went over to Apple now. See, we've got a bunch of computers. I went from PC over to Mac about 10 years ago because I was sick of the thing crashing. But when I started to trade, I moved back to PC, and I got to say, I built this computer about 3 years ago, and it's not crashed once. But we've got two MacBook Pros in the house. We've got a Mac Mini in the kitchen, and I've got an Apple phone. I think it's the 13, I think, in it. But they do have a bit of a monopoly, don't they? And they do charge a bit for them. But I've got to say, I had a MacBook Pro from 2013. It still works like a dream. They do tend to last well. But yeah. Trouble is with Apple, they're not very sociable if you want to send things from, if your mate wants to sort of send you something quickly, a video or something on their phone. It's not that easy, is it? But it can be a bit of a pain. But I suppose it's better with the likes of WhatsApp and that if you want to send stuff over. What are we doing here? So we've had this channel down there. Whether that's a little bit of break, I don't know. I don't think it matters anyway because we've already had a break in a new low. So we seem to be rattling between these areas. Now, I thought there may be a little bit of resistance there because you can see it there. So whether we're going to continue down or pop up, I'm not sure about that one. See, on the NQ we've had this channel and we've had a break, but we haven't made a new low yet. A new low would take us below this. So are we going to get 2 legs down? It's hard to say, isn't it? Look at that. Looks like another slow day again. Yeah, after that channel with a break a new low, there was a second entry short there, but although it worked, it's just way dangerous, that is, especially that far from the EMA and after we've already had a break. Just thinking if I could say so, there was a second entry long there, same again, too far from the EMA. We could have triggered and come back to the EMA to these levels before we pushed up. Now Penguin seems to be having some success with the 1,000 tick chart of the NQ. Seems to be doing quite well out of that. God, this is slow. It's been like this a lot lately. I've been testing 5 minis instead of 1 NQ when scalping seems to take a lot of pressure off. Yeah, I get that. I did even consider that the thing is, when we trade with one or two contracts, you don't really have the option for a runner. But if you split that up into, say, I don't know, I think one contract in the mini is 10 minis in it's 10 micros in the micros. So you've got the option, if you want to do that, maybe to do eight micros as your scalp and 2 micros as your runner, or whatever you want. Even if you want to do, so like 4, you've been testing 5. So theoretically, you could use 4 as you could scalp 4 and use one of your runners. So I absolutely get it. It's like anything, isn't it? If you say you bet money on a football game this weekend and you put $10 on it, I mean, you could go out with your mates, couldn't you? And you wouldn't even take a look at the news till the following day and find out what happened. But if you had $200 on there, you'd pretty much be having your eye on there, wouldn't you? And so, I mean, we know that emotions, are a big part of your trading. But I think a lot of it is down to just risking too much. Obviously, the trouble is with when you're doing evaluations, you're not putting a lot in. You haven't got a lot of skin in the game. So we do tend to naturally want to speed things up. I suppose it's human nature, isn't it? But, you could sort of more or less eradicate emotions altogether if you reduce that enough. Now, it may take you a long time to earn money, or, you may have to have 20 contracts. But, I suppose you could potentially go for a few more points, can't you? Because you've got that worry. NQ is a beast and it can turn very red. Yeah, it can, yeah. It's kind of like why I use it as see at the moment, if we're looking at the NQ now, we've been up here twice. If this thing rushes down, it tends to move a lot quicker than the ES. And if I see this moving and I've got to set up on the ES, that helps my decision making. So, yeah, it is sort of a real man's chart, isn't it? If you ain't got balls of steel or you're risking too much, yeah, it can crucify you a bit, can't it? Yes, it's the nature of the beast, isn't it? But from what I can gather, talking to, Pat's traders in the Facebook groups, a lot of them are starting to prefer it. I don't know what. Well, I suppose a lot of people are saying they get better setups. Now, obviously, if we're sitting here for 4 hours, we want to try and be as productive as we can, which is why, I'm kind of looking at it now. I've got the 1,000 tick. Well, I've got the 1,500 that you guys can see as well, and I got the 1,000 tick top left on a spare screen. So I'm just kind of watching that, mainly because the Penguin guy does it, and I'm assuming he's picked the 1,000 tick chart because it's a lot easier to sort of balance things up against the same sort of profit and risk. Maybe you would just double up on you. What's the ATR at the moment on that? The ATR on the 1,000 tick chart is just under 10. So it's roughly 4 or 5 times. So yeah, it's just seem to be getting such a lot of sideways lately, don't we? We just can't do anything here, can we? I have payouts from both. I've missed the comments. It's all right. I was just paying a bill there. Artie, how you doing, buddy? How you doing? Slow. Come on, do something. For God's sake, come on. Santa Monica. That sounds nice. I suppose you could consider that a triple test. Trouble is, I do like that body under that line, really. I mean, we've pushed that once. Mind you, once, twice, three, four times. Trouble is, you got a little bit of what looks like a channel there, so ideally you want two legs, really, don't you? You could argue that there's a channel there. Come on then, speed up. It's starting to speed up a little bit. Come on, there we go. Get down. So a leg and a leg. Would I want to go long here? Not really. Could trigger it and come down here. We got this big vacant area here, ideally, which needs filling, I think. Now we're moving. In fact, I didn't realise on the NQ we've more or less bounced off all-time highs. That can probably come down a little bit, can't it? Yeah, we've almost bounced off all-time highs. We've come very close. So a leg, that's probably going to be 2 legs down, I think. So leg. And let's put that somewhere around there. Quick rush down, at least it's moving a bit now. So are we going to get a leg and leg, or are we going to bounce off here? Wow, look at that, smashed straight through that quickly. That measured leg there. So I'd expect a bit of a pullback there, comfortably 2 legs. This is what I like. Now we're moving. You got 130 ticks on my runner, good for you, mate. I'm not sure what it is profit-wise, but 130 sounds like a big number. Right, what have we got down here? So we're ranging anyway. We've been up here to sort of that sort of height, I think. So we could come down to around about this area. Somewhere around there, I'd say. Wow, that thing's dropping like a stone, isn't it? There it is. Wow. So that was a quick from here, say from the top 5, 10, 15, 20, 23 points, 22, 23 points pretty quickly. Yeah, and it ain't over yet. Okay, I'd expect a little bit of resistance now, or maybe a pullback to this. There is some around here. Around about there, maybe slightly higher. Which it's bounced on. Off, rather. That's a fair old drop, that, isn't it? Pretty quickly. So when have we come down? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, nearly 30 points. Really quickly. That's when you want to be in a runner, isn't it? See, I've noticed whenever it does this drop, there's no real sign. There's not even a damn setup, is there? Which caused that to just drop. As we've had that leg down a little bit of sideways, I think it's certainly likely to push down to this area, but I didn't envisage a drop that much that quick. It just goes to show sometimes there aren't any real signs, are there? So, let's put that there. So there's definitely a break. 2 pushes down to a new low. Okay, that line I've marked there. 1, 2, 3, these touches there. There's definitely some support and resistance there. Let's see what it does here. I'd like to see 2 legs up here. Would I go long? Would I go short? No, not really. Okay, there is a second entry short there. I'm not interested at the moment. We've had a big push down. We've already had a break at that channel, 2 pushes down. There is some support along here, which was part of yesterday and part of the day before, and here as well. So whether it will come down here, I'm not sure. But after that big move down quickly and a break and a new low, we've pushed up, had a bit of a retest. I wouldn't go short here. I wouldn't go long here either. I want to let it sort itself out and figure out what it's going to do. I like the fact that it's triggered that bullish bar, but I still think it's risky going short here at the moment. Technically that channel's already played out. I think adjusting it yet is a bit of a mistake. I did the same thing the other day. We had a big channel up as well, and that was when Dan messaged me and said we've already had a break. Okay, that one didn't trigger anyway. That one I certainly wouldn't have gone short. So it was 2 legs back to the EMA, but you can't really do anything there. It's not really giving away anything. I mean, I wouldn't want to go short, and I'm not ready to go long really after this. After that's played out, I just want to give it a bit of a time to figure out what it's going to do. Notice the day chart. It triggered above. I used to have the daily on here, but I haven't for a while. It triggered above and triggered a second entry, then failed. Interesting. Excuse me, I used to have it. In fact, I probably should get it back, shouldn't I? Let me just copy that. That's it, man. Yeah, it did. Yeah, this is the daily. Triggered above that. We've got a channel with a break. Yeah, second entry long there, which triggered by a tick, and now looking like it's dropping. I mean, that is some serious buying, isn't it, over quite a long period of time there. I mean, we've literally been going up since about 4,200, so we've gone up. Where is that? About 1,000 points. Yeah, it is over 1,000 points. Let's have a look. 4,200. Well, it's a little bit above there. Let's say 4,300 for argument's sake. 4,300, and we've been up to 4,300. We've been up to 5,300. So it's a fair old trek up that. So are we going to come down and stop that out there? It's possible. It's interesting that. Interesting. This thing just don't seem to want to stop, does it? So we're up to all-time highs or very close to them, and we had a quick tank. Then we recovered 50% of it, and we've literally been going sideways for the last 2.5 to 3 days. And now we're having a drop again. Where could we get down to? Certainly this level again, couldn't we? Double bottom there, little double bottom. Just have a look. So we've had more than a leg and a leg there. So like down, bit of a correction, and down again. Are we going to continue down more? Sometimes when you can't think we can go down anymore, it just continues on down. Okay, excuse me, just for a quick minute, I'll take a quick bathroom break. Unfortunately, nothing I can do there. It's sort of 2 legs up, but I'm going into beyond here. Could come down, could not. If this is a bigger channel, which it kind of looks like it is, there's the bottom of it. We've come quite a distance away, so I wouldn't expect this to go down much further before we have a break. But I could be wrong. I would expect this to come back up here. This thing doesn't want to end, does it? My God, look at it go. can't take a trade here. Unfortunately, nothing here either. It could trigger and push back up to the MA. That one didn't trigger. You can't really take that one. Can't take that one. That one just a bit odd and it's a bit sideways. It is unfortunate sometimes when we have these big moves. We just we all kind of, well, I certainly do kind of hope to get into trends rather than ranges. But sometimes these trends that don't half move, you just don't get no setups. And then when they take off, they're that far away from the, you know, the edges of these channels and the EMA. There's nothing you can do. I mean, if you went short, you don't know it's going to do that. It could trigger you and start going sideways. Short trends, Mac says we could use first entries. Yeah, he does kind of say sometimes when you get a bar early, you can short them. That I wouldn't have done because of the stem. I wouldn't have taken that one either, but yeah, I know what you're saying. See, I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, apparently there's a setup of Al Brooks's that I noticed what the market was doing. Whenever we sort of get a push down in a channel like this and we get that little bit of a pullback, it triggers above it and drops like a stone. Just on about selling when we get that. As soon as that bar closes, there's one there as well. Sell that one. As soon as it closes, down we come. Whenever we get a bit of a pullback, that I wouldn't because it's a bit sideways. But let's have a look. See, we're in a nice. This is the type of channel that these work really well. So we come down. You got a bullish bar there. Triggers above it, comes down. Got another bullish bar there. If you sold that one, come down a bit, comes back up a bit. Same again. It triggers that and comes down. So there does seem to be quite a few of these. But you've got to find them. I just haven't got the confidence to try them yet, really. So I kind of just monitor them. But yeah, that's the type of. If you'd have took that and you'd have took that, you'd have got two trades just in that one channel there. If you go sort of 1-to-1 on something like this, if you just sold that as soon as that bar closed and you give yourself, say, 6 ticks, I mean, you're out of that trade. But, you know, we wait for a signal bar to form. So if we were going to take a short, we'd take it there. But if you did that, you'd be out of that trade halfway through the bar before it even formed. Even if you went from 8 and 8, same again. If you did the same there. That one there. And you went for 8 ticks. It's more there if you sold above that one. It's definitely something there. Breakout to the direction of the breakout, which is against our pat rules. Yeah, to be fair, I didn't even realise it was one of his. I just noticed whenever we get something like that, a channel like that, whenever we tend to get a pullback and a green bar which ends nearly on its high, it tends to cross over and come down quickly. See how quick that bar came down after that pullback? Same again there. Pullback, the bar just dropped quickly. I'm just monitoring these. See that one there? We came down at a bullish bar. What happened? It crossed straight over and dropped. It's even better if it triggers it because that may trap some shorts. But look how that works. As soon as you get a pullback like that in a channel this sort of size, it works best in this sort of size, slightly bigger than the single. I call that more of a, I don't know, sort of a double-sized chart. That I call a single-sized chart if that's what I mean. But yeah, this type of thing where you can get a few bars, but look at that, drop straight down. There was one there, both worked. Even if you went for 1-to-1 and you got 60%, six of them right, you'd be making money. Isn't he on? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I've not really seen a lot of him. I just noticed this was doing this about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I mentioned it. It would go short 5233 going. Yeah, I just noticed that it was doing this whenever we get this size of channel. As soon as we had a bit of a green bar, it crossed over and come down. So I just I had to play around with it, just seeing if it would work for like 1-to-1, either 6 or 8 ticks. And it seems to work well. And then somebody mentioned it's an Al Brooks, or one of Al Brooks's setups. Well, it just goes to show you, I didn't know that, but it just goes to show if you sit and watch the chart long enough, you'll notice these things, and that's what I did. It's hard to trade Apex with his style because of his stops. Yeah, I mean, if I took a trade like that, I'd just go for either 6 ticks stop, 6 ticks profit, or maybe 8 and 8, something like that. But there was one there. That type of channel, slightly wider than what I would call more of a single channel like that. That worked perfectly, that worked perfectly, and that one worked perfectly. But sometimes we can sit here 4 hours and not get a setup. But if you can add an extra string to your bow, like that type of thing, you know, you have to go to the left swing. Yeah. I'm going to go through the chart later at the end of the days and just find out how many of these worked whenever you get this type of thing. The stop, yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, any of those you took, that one came back about a tick and worked. That one, it came back about a tick and it worked. That one didn't even come back, well, maybe a tick again. So I would probably do this at 1-to-1 and maybe have a 6 tick stop and a 6 tick profit, trading 1-to-1, or even a 6 tick stop and a 7 tick profit, which would more than cover your commissions. It's just a shame, really, in our business when we're sat here for 4 hours without a trade, and you see these type of thing all the time. We come down, little pullback, come down, little pullback. As soon as we get these pullbacks, look how quick that moved down. Same again, see that? As soon as we had that pullback, straight down. Yeah, it does seem to work well. It seems to work well in this sort of type channel. So when you have these big trending days like this, or trending days, trending, you know, sessions or whatever, interesting to sell them. To him is worse than pain. Yeah, I've watched little bits, but a long time ago. Yeah, a lot of people say he's quite hard to follow. I think he's sort of very monotone, isn't he, in what he says. But, you know, at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, if anybody can make money in this business, they've got my respect, because we all know how hard it is. But yeah, some people can be a bit boring, I suppose, can't they? I have opened 2 evals today, and it showed payment failed. However, I got charged. Not present as anyone. I've never come across this, bud. If I was you, I would just take a screenshot of the payment that's come out of your bank and then just open up a ticket. There is a place where you can add a file, a photo file, you know what I mean, JPEG file, whatever it is, and just send them it and just tell them. But yeah, it is annoying that, isn't it? I've not come across it, I've got to say, because as soon as you do that, that's one of the things I like about Apex. You know, literally 3 minutes after you've paid, you can be trading. But yeah, just take some photos, take a quick snapshot and then a screenshot, and then just send it to them. They should write it pretty quickly. I've not heard of any issues with Rhythmic or Tradeovate today, so I'm guessing you'll be in and out quite quick. You may get a quick response. But I've not come across it. Where is that? What I would do, mate, let me show you. Yeah, just go onto your bank or your app on your phone and just take a quick screenshot with your phone, and then just open up a ticket. There's a problem today for buying it. Is there really? You did take a photo and sent them an... Oh, okay, yeah. So you've done what you can, bud. They should reply pretty quick, I'm guessing. I think they're usually, if there's no issues, they're usually pretty quick. But yeah, it is a bit of a ball ache, isn't it? Okay, there is a lower high there, but we've come into that measured leg, so I'd probably leave that personally. We have had a break and we've already made a new low. Now, whether it'll work or not, I don't know, but that to me is a little bit too far from that EMA. Web error, their system. All right. Interesting. Oh, okay, brilliant. How'd you get on with it? Just today. What a shame I couldn't use it. Yeah, that's a bit frustrated. Hopefully they'll get back to you soon. But I'll be interested to see how you get on with that, bud. From what I gather, there's two traders that come into the stream from time to time, John and Dean, and they both said it helped them. There is a video. If you go on the website and you scroll right down somewhere, there's a video. I mean, there's a guy. He's got a very strong Spanish accent. I think it's Spanish, so he's a little bit hard to follow actually. But that's good news, mate. That's good news. It'd be interesting to see how you get on with that. But I have heard it's a game changer. There is a little bit, if you go through the settings, there's lots of different settings. I mean, there's even things like a timeout. So if you have a losing trade, you could set it so you have a timeout and you can't take a trade for like 30 minutes or whatever. So it's got some really useful, they've really thought about it. I'd expect that to get triggered above. That to me is a bit of a weak lower high. So I'd expect that to smash above that. It is a lower high, but look at this. Yeah, it has done it sideways. I did look at that, but I think going up there. I think going short into that is risky. So straight away, I have a sheet of paper next to my desk that says, taking a trade, look left. And if you look left and you're going short there, let's move that up. You've got one, 2, 3. Look at all this support there. It's bounced off, support there, bounced off, support there, rejected, support there. So I think taking that trade is risky. I don't know how much you'd have got off it. You'd have probably got a scalp. So there's about a point you'd have got. you'd have got maybe you got to push through it, so maybe a 1.25, something like that. But it's risky going short into there. I mean, after that big push down, we're going to have a bit of a correction. So I was just 200. Yeah. Well, if you think about it, I think it works out. I think it works out at 350 euros, which for me is about £300, which for you US guys is about $380. $380. So that's the equivalent price-wise of 3 PA accounts. So if you blow your next 3 PA accounts, you could have saved that by buying that. So I think it's a good investment. I mean, it's a game changer if you think about it. I mean, literally, you can get it to force you. It's not like, Rhythmic. If you put some settings in Rhythmic day, max loss for the day or whatever, all you got to do is open Rhythmic and clear the settings, which takes about 30 seconds. And when the emotions are there, but what I will say, Speedy, is when I agreed to buy it, when I said I was going to buy it, my emotions changed. I relaxed. I said I'm going to buy it the weekend, and all of a sudden my trading for the next 3 days just relaxed. I couldn't understand why. And they've not come back since. I had a day yesterday where I lost 2 trades and I walked away and I never traded. I have never, ever done that. There was another day where I was a trade down, walked away. So those emotions they've just stopped. They've stopped affecting me the same way. So that's really interesting. Right. Yeah. Sent out to me, by the way. I ended up. Yeah, it's weird how things can. We know what we're supposed to do, and we know what we're not supposed to do. But I would say if you are struggling and you are blowing accounts again and again and again, I'd certainly look into getting it. Now I've got no affiliation with it whatsoever, but I have spoken to John and Dean in the stream, and they both use it. And I think it was John said it was a game changer for him. But you can set 1 loss a day, and it won't let you trade till the following day. You can set a certain time frame. You can set having a break, a timeout after trades. You can set monetary targets. If you hit a certain amount of profit, it stops you trading. And when you set this between certain hours, you can't unchange it until the following day. So it really is like having a gorilla sat next to your desk that is physically dragging you away. And that is a game changer. Now, I've spoken to a couple of people about it on the Facebook group, and they go, "Oh, I don't know if you can't control yourself." But the trouble is, emotions are a powerful thing, and what this does is it helps you break that cycle. So, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care what anybody says. If I think it's going to help me, I'll buy it or I'll do it or whatever the case. Because ultimately, this is about you and nobody else. Doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. If it can help you and get you out of those bad habits, then I think it's a useful bit of kit. The reason I haven't had it is because my emotions changed when I decided to buy it. I didn't even get round to buying it. So I think what it'll do, after a couple of times after you used it and you can't trade, I think you'll just walk away anyway. There's no point in sat here frustration trying to think of a way around it. It doesn't work. So I think it's a game changer to get people out of those habits. The trouble is, with the likes of Apex and that, they make these things so cheap. And it's very, very easy to take risks. I know I've done it myself many times. I've done lots of stupid stuff, but, if it gets you out of that habit, then it's an absolute game changer. It's a little pricey. $375, $380, but that's the equivalent of 3 blown PA accounts. And if you're anything like me, I've blown about 45, 50 of them. So you'll soon get your money back, and then you've always got it. It is a lifetime license. So it's always useful. Even when you get out of those emotions, it's still... I know Nutty says now he just uses it to end his trading day. So it's an absolutely game-changing bit of software. I've got to say, being a trader now is way easier than I think what it used to be. I forget who was saying that the other week. Some trader. It was Andrew Lockwood. I was watching him. and he was saying, the things we've got now compare. Oh no, it was Mac. What we've got available now to us compared to when he started is it's brilliant. So, are we having a few pushes up and we're going to come down some more? I really don't know here. It's hard to say. Let me just see if there's anything larger there. I don't think there is. Yeah, we are lucky really now, aren't we? 10 years ago, prop firms I don't think existed. So unless you had your own money and you lost your own money, it would be harder to learn. But literally anyone, you don't even need to. I mean, I'm pretty sure these banks, take these young guys fresh out of university with maths degrees coming out their trousers. But you don't need it. You don't need it at all. You can have the most basic education there is, and it'd be plenty to do a job like this. As Max says, it's almost like learning a language. You don't need to be a genius to learn a language. Anybody can, as long as you've got the time and commitment to do it. But you'll have to keep us informed about that, Speedy. Yeah, you'll have to keep us up to date. How you getting on with that? I'm pretty sure you won't have any problems. I'm pretty sure it'll change your trading as we know it. Do what you got to do. That's what it's about. Okay, I'm coughing here. I've got a bit of a dry throat, so I'm just going to take a quick 5 minutes. Quick 5-minute break. And I'll be back. Okay. Just losing a bit of momentum here. I'd expect a bit of a break. Actually, I'm wondering if there's more of a spike in a channel there. Just have a look. Not sure about that. Okay, let me figure out what's going on here. There is some little bit of support along there. You can see it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're just going to get a break and a new high. Not sure about this. We could go a bit sideways, so that might trigger along and come down. So I'm not sure about this. I was sure there was going to be a break because if this is the top of the channel, we didn't quite get there. So it does tell me we're losing a bit of momentum. So I expected a little bit of a break out of this. See, it could just be two legs up rather than a channel. Okay, that's technically a second entry long, but I'm not taking it because this looks like a channel to me. And if it is, we'll likely get a break of it in a new low. So going along there for me would be dangerous. Now, it could still work, but that bar to me is still in that downtrend. Now this, although I've got this as a channel, could just be two legs up. So that might trigger you and then come down. It's hard to say at the moment, really. there's also some support there. You can see it along there. So we may bounce. So this for me is going to come down here and break below that bar there. Is that bearish bar triggered? Is it now? Hasn't it? So leg down, one attempt to go higher, second attempt to go higher. This will be interesting. Yeah, it just looked to me like that was in a channel. Excuse me, I'm surprised it didn't. It was only a couple of ticks off it. That to me is a little channel, so trouble is sometimes it still works. And I see it's technically a second entry long, but it's still in a little channel for me, that is. So I like to give it a chance to trap me, stop me out, and then move in that direction. I did mention there was always the possibility of a spike in a channel, but I'm not sure about that. Good on you, mate. Good on you. Are you had anything back yet, have you, Speedy? I'm guessing Apex will be on that quick, because if people can't buy evaluations, they're going to be losing money. So I guess they'll make that a priority. take any trade in this so far. Okay, well, you got several. Yeah, interesting. There was actually a failure on the 1,000 tick chart. Looking at this, we've got a touch. We look like we're in a channel. We've got a break, 2 pushes down to a new low. There's a failure there. There's a second entry short there. First entry, second entry, which triggered and pushed up strong. But after the break, new low. Yeah, there's the failure. That worked really nice. Yeah, look. Channel down break. There is a second entry short there. That worked for a bit. Too far from the EMA for me. But there was definitely one I'd have taken there. That's the 1,000 tick chart. A little double top on there as well, and that measured moves played out beautifully. There's a failure there. I'm not sure how I feel about that though. I wouldn't necessarily consider us in a range. Not only that, we've had a break, 1 push up to a new high. I'd like to have 2 pushes up, I do. Actually, leg down break. I'm not sure about this one. We got a break. There is a lower high there. I'm still a bit nervous about this at the moment because we've had such a strong push down. We could have another leg up, and there is some support along there, so it could bounce and push up. I'm not sure about this. If I'm not sure, I'm leaving it. So depending on how you got in there, you'd have got to push through. You'd have got a 1.5, I think. Well, that's if it breaks. It ain't finished yet, but see if it holds it a 1.5. There is sort of like a second entry or a hidden second entry on the NQ that's bounced off there, that's likely to break above that bearish bar, I think. So I think that stop may go. That's what I mean. Break. I like to see two pushes up. Market, as we know, likes to move in two, so it's just a bit risky. I get trading it back to the EMA, but if you're scalping a point, then it might be worth taking it. But if you take it there, back to the EMA, if you barely got a point really, but you would have got a 1.5 off it. Leg and leg. Would I want to go long there? It's a big ass bar, isn't it? Yeah, I ain't risking 15 plus a tick above, tick below, 16, 17 ticks. Too rich for my blood. That's if it triggers. See if that lower high stop goes. Yeah, I thought as much. There is a second entry long there, but I don't like that bar. It's a big ass bar. 15 ticks, tick above, tick below, 16, 17 ticks. Looks like there may be a double trap there. Trying on once, trying twice, a failure, trapping some longs. So failure, depending on where you took it, you'd have got 0.5 at it at the most. If you'd have taken that one. I don't like that one. There's another reason I don't like that is because there's a little channel down there with a break. Channel break. Quite likely going to get a new low. And I won't go long. There's clearly support along there. You can see it. You can see it there, there, and there. So see if that stop holds. That's the trouble. It's a big ass bar. That was 15 ticks, tick above, tick below, 16, 17 ticks. It's like a 4.5 point loss, that is. I'll be amazed if that stop doesn't get taken out. Yeah. Market's got a flipping way, isn't it? Triggers in some shorts, stops them out. Mind you, it came down enough to give you a scalp anyway. But I just can't take that, especially after we've had one push up. A lot of times we'll have another attempt after we've had a break. It still might have another go. Maybe this is just two legs and it'll go again. Excuse me a sec. Sorry about that. Okay, leg and a leg and a bullish bar. Are we going up, or are we going to trap some more longs and come down? It is 2 legs back. I wouldn't go long here. I wouldn't go short at the moment. Anyway, we've had a new high. There was a failure there, but there's a new count there, so that would be a lower high. So that might not be a bad option.
Order submitted.
Let's have a look. Let's see how this finishes. Go off without me. Bollocks.
Order cancelled.
How much did it go? There is a second entry long there. See, there is a possibility we could still go up. All of a sudden, I don't like that now. It's looking a bit congested. Kind of glad it didn't trigger me. Let's have a look. It's getting a bit sideways there now, so I'm kind of glad it didn't trigger me. It went for a point, I think. Well, it went for a 1.5. If you'd have got in a tick below there, say there, you'd have got 6 ticks out of it. You may have got 3/4. It's going a bit sideways, though. Will it work? I think it probably will. But seeing it go sideways now, I wouldn't have got in it, so I'm kind of glad I'm out. Okay, down we come, so that clearly worked. When it carried on going sideways, a bit risky there. Just that, it was quite close to the bottoms here as well. How far did it come down? Okay, so I'd have got 2 points there, which would have been there. So you'd have comfortably got out there. It went down 2 3/4, depending on where you got in. Trouble is with that, it's very close this low. So you don't know whether it's going to turn back up there and come back up here. Excuse me. It's actually a failure there, which is trapping some longs. There's always the possibility of a bigger channel. A couple of legs back, break, come down, retest it. So there's always that possibility. But we are in a bit of a channel here now with a break, so I'd expect it to come down and make it a low. Okay, so we got up once, twice, maybe we got a triple test here. We'll see.
Order submitted. Order cancelled.
Okay, channel down 1, 2 pushes up. Are we coming down or what? Maybe not. Just trying to think if there's any other channel there. Could be. Just don't like this big vacant area. Okay, excuse me just for a second. Anybody see that payment that somebody got yesterday? I'll show you. Biggest payment I've ever seen. Well, I've heard of one, but biggest payment I've actually seen. Let me see if I can find it. I got into a bit of balloon modelling with my daughter last year. Oh, it was a couple of years ago. Oh, tell a lie. There we go. Not bad for a beginner, eh? Let's see if I can find this. Where is it? Not here. I'm a natural, you think? I can't find this flipping payment now. It's a certificate. It was. Let me just check. Let's try this one. Did anybody see it? Did they? Somebody posted us. Oh, there it is. There we go. That's what we all aspire to. Not a bad certificate. That's what you want, isn't it? $643,000. That's a fair chunk, isn't it? Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Nearly $650,000. That is unreal. You were scrolling through payouts in March. Yeah, that was over 900k paid. Blimmin' hell. Unbelievable, isn't it? Someone's making money, aren't they? It ain't me. Yeah, yeah. I think you might have sent to one person, one account. Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, there's so many different ways to. I mean, like sometimes I see people posting their daily, and they've got 10 accounts, and they had like $650 in each account for the day, and I'm thinking, what the hell are they doing? How the hell are they getting like that sort of amount? Unreal, isn't it? Anybody heard anything from Wilson by any chance? I didn't see his. Did he have a video out last night? I didn't see it. I don't know what he's doing at the moment. Evaluations. I know he lost those. The 300. He started with 2,300, which is a shame, really, because he's such a nice guy. Wilson is, and I don't like to see anyone struggle. So, but I think I'm sure he said in a message that he's toning it down. I think sticking to something like 5. Once you get 20, it's such a lot of pressure. So I think he's dialing it down a little bit, which I think is a good thing. He's certainly, I certainly don't like to see anybody struggle, but he's a lovely guy. If you've spoken to him before, I only spoke to him via messenger and email and stuff like that, but he says the nicest things. He's really nice and supportive of everyone. So it is a shame when you see people going through a tough patch. But having said that, I think he got $14,000 a while, so he did get a nice little chunk. But yeah, it does take time. Those emotions, once you start adding those accounts, it's got to add pressure to you, hasn't it? It's got to. First 50. Heck yeah. I've had one this year. A couple of weeks ago, I think. Mind you, I've never got large amounts of accounts. I think 5's the most I've ever had account wise. But it was only a couple of weeks ago, up until a couple of weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, I was still revenge trading. So my accounts just weren't lasting long. At least now I'm not doing that. So I envisage my accounts to slowly grow. I'm just not going to aim too high. I just want to try and have 10 working accounts by the end of the year. I mean, in an ideal world, I'd like to ideally build up 10 accounts and have something like $7,000 in each, and then take a $2,000 payment. And then you've got 5,000 left, and then whatever you make over the next month, withdraw it above 5,000 and so on. But the trouble is, it does take time to build those up. So you've got to be prepared to not take any money, really. So, but I think the first initial bunch of them, I don't think it's a bad idea taking the money, especially if you are still revenge trading, because it's a shame to hit the target and then something go wrong with your psychology and you end up blowing them. There's nothing worse than blowing an account where you could have had a payout. I know I've done it. I had 2 accounts that had hit the target. In fact, I had 2 accounts hit the target, and I could have taken 2,000 from each of them. I decided to take 1,000 from each, and I ended up blowing the account. So I could have had an extra couple. But I suppose it's all part of the learning. It's all part of the journey. You've got to balls up a couple of times. You can't make an omelette without cracking some eggs. In this case, hundreds of the bastards, in all fairness. The trouble is, there's not a lot you can do up here. Have a look. So, small channel up, break new high. Whether this is a channel or not, I don't know. It's not a terrible one, put it that way. But trouble is, a leg and a leg. Ideally, we want to get down to here before I think about trading here, or at least to the EMA. Trouble is, when we get channels like this, I feel much more comfortable taking them from the bottom. So we know that line there is 50% of this move, which it's not huge, but it's a fair old size one. What is it? 60? It's about 66 points. So we know this is a pullback of about 50%, give or take a tick or two. So what are we going to do? See, yesterday was just complete sideways. So we did have a little push up sideways and down. See, we're going to make a leg and a leg into here. I don't know. So depending on where that goes to, that could take us, well, who knows. Okay, 2 legs back here. Let's get back here somewhere. I didn't make a lot last year. I made $10,000 off of payments, which is not a huge amount, but it's nice to make something. At least I'm getting into that area now of making. Wow, that's a good push up. Quick 18 ticks up. Has anybody ever seen Mac, have they? Seen what he looks like? There's a photo of him there. That's actually, yeah, well, obviously Macfa, but that's him there. I think that's him there. You can tell it's him because on one of the videos, he's got a video talking around a house that he's renting out a house, and you can obviously hear his name. I always like to sort of have a face to the name. I've never even seen a picture of him, see, so it's kind of nice to... But it's not what I expected from his voice. Weird, isn't it? It kind of looks like a triple test on the NQ. 1, 2, 3. Push that 1, 2, 3. Seems to be working, depending on what you go for. I want to be out before these, I think. Unfortunately, there's nothing on the ES. 1, 2. I don't know what you'd have got out of that. My only slight concern is if this is a channel, which it looks right, we're up the top here. We seem to be coming away there, and that makes me a bit nervous. Which tells me we're losing a little bit of momentum. So leg and a leg. I'd expect to come down here, hopefully. Well, maybe even a bit of a break because of this. It's hard to say. Ah. Well, if that is the triple test, that one certainly is. 1, 2, 3. That one held. The stop stayed intact. So what's that going to do? Those amount of bounces there, even if you forget that one and call that 1, 2, 3, I'd expect that to work. Unfortunately, there's nothing on here really. I like to break below there before we push up. Not only that, it's an inside bar as well. It is kind of a triple test, 1, 2, 3, but it's an inside bar. I'd want that at least to hit level with that. So if you would have taken that one, you got out, well, you got 12 points, near enough, probably a bit more, depending on where you got in. Struggling to get up now, so I can see a flush down. Excuse me just for a second. Okay, we're up to that 50% level. Let's see what happens there. So NQ 1, 2, 3 triple test, came back a little bit but didn't take the stop out and then pushed off. So whether you'd taken that one or the high low wouldn't have made a difference. They both worked. Unfortunately, we had sort of a triple test, but not a good one. 1, 2, 3, that one. It was an inside bar. We come from the tops of the channel to here. We come away a little bit, which always makes me a little bit nervous. When we have that, sometimes we just lose a bit of momentum. My concern was, even if I had a go at that one, that we may come down, but it wasn't a great signal bar really for a triple test, especially being an inside bar. This is slow again, isn't it? Come on, move, damn it, move. Okay, we need a leg and a leg. It's been days since I've had a trade. It's almost like I feel like I've slipped out the rhythm. Okay, leg break. Let's have another leg down. I won't be surprised if this just ends up being some beggar range day. Come on, let's have two legs and a bloody setup. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, so we've had a little leg and a break and a new low. We need to Ideally around about here if we can. I think we need a break now, personally. I'd like a break from here. We're struggling to get up now. So I think we need a flush down. I'm just trying to think. So we got a touch, and a touch. I'm happy with this channel. It's clearly working there. We've got a touch here and a touch here, a few touches here, but we haven't quite got high enough, and we haven't quite got high enough. We've had a good go there. So after a leg and a leg, I don't know if I'd be interested in taking a long year, to be honest with you. We seem to be struggling there. We got the 50% pullback line, which is there, and we got the measured move we're very close to. So I'd like a decent drop, a decent pullback, or a flush, or a clean out of the cobwebs, whatever you want to call it, and then catch something on the break. But just a leg and a leg down here won't be enough to entice me, I don't think. I am just wondering whether I'm being just extra cautious lately. I haven't taken a trade for days. I don't think a leg and a leg will be enough. We are flattening up. It's going slow, and we're really struggling to go up. And when that happens, sometimes we seem to get a decent drop. And I think we need something just to entice buyers back in, whether they will or not. on, speed up, damn it. I'd say that's going to stop that out. I wouldn't take that bar anyway. Although technically we had a break in a new low, it's just got danger written all over that. It's got to have a flush down, this thing has. I'd expect a good drop, or at least to get a break, or at least to get down here. Now drop. Come on, drop. This has got to drop, surely. Let's have a look at this. What's going on? Well, Marco's finished for the day. He's just seen 2. He's took that bar there, that bar there, a couple of legs back. My only slight concern with that is we've already had a break and a new low, but it worked. What was the risk there? It's about 3 points, something like that, maximum risk, and it worked. And the other one was that one there. Same again, I wasn't sure about that because it looked like in a bit of a channel. It was technically a second entry long, but we did seem to be in a channel, but it did work. So there's not a hell of a lot of setups really, in all fairness. The only other one that I may have considered would be that one there. We'd had that break. We'd had 1, 2 pushes down to a new low, but we got 1, 2, 3, a triple test there. I don't think that was actually a bad setup. It was also a second entry long, and it sat right on top of there. What was the risk? Tick above, tick below. It was quite a small risk as well. 2.5 points maximum. Second entry long, break, 2 pushes down to a new low. It came down here and then triggered you, came back a little bit, but then off it went. So that's the only one. I'm starting to see these quite often when we have a break and we have like a triple test after quite a big move down. We have 1, 2, 3, and then we tend to rocket off in the other direction. This is something you took that for triple test for 4 points. Yeah. Sometimes you don't notice these till after, but depends how you see that there. We got a touch. So for me, that was a channel. It's losing a bit of momentum from this area, and we had a break, and it was 1, 2 pushes down to a new low, and you know the bars were a bit bigger then, and 2.5 point risk maximum. I don't think it's a bad idea. So it was a second entry long, and you could see once, twice, 3 times. And it was sat there all shiny in its glory, and off it went. And usually when they do work, they just rocket off. And I mean, even that first sort of move before we had the pullback, I mean, that went up 10, 11 points easily before we had that couple of legs back. So yeah, sometimes these, when you see them, it almost bottoms. If you can get a small enough risk, they're worth taking, but I'll be amazed if Mac doesn't mark that. I think that's a sort of a little gem, I think, and it worked lovely. Off it went. A measured move had been made as well, comfortably. New low, 2 pushes down to a new low, so it's 2 legs as well. So yeah, sometimes you don't see these, but the good thing about looking back on your charts is if you do notice these, and the next time they happen, you can monitor them a bit closer, and then if you get something, take them. Trouble is, there's nothing else I can see. Marco marked that one. And it is technically a second entry long, but after this, to me, it looks like a little channel. So if I'm not sure about this, I always wait for the higher low, because you just never know, because it is a channel, was sometimes we'll have a break in a new low and we didn't. It could have gone down there another new low. But I think it's always best to wait for the higher low if you think it's in a channel. It's one of those, it's a personal thing really, isn't it? But you can see how nice we've got a touch, perfect touch, and perfect on the bottom as well, there, and that bar there. So for me, that was a little challenge. Doesn't mean it can't turn tail and move, but technically it was. But I've been caught out many times taking setups like that. And I say, well, it's second entry, yeah, but it's in a channel, so I tend to avoid them now, which is all right. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Everyone's different. Some people will take them, some people won't. But sometimes you can get stung there. I think what was going for that one, that it was sat on top of the EMA. See, after this bounce off here, that one I wouldn't take because it's very wicky. But then we just push up. We get nothing else really. There is technically a triple test, but it's an inside bar. And if you look at the tops here, we haven't quite come up to them there. And sometimes that's a sign that it's going to have a break. That's what I find anyway. We come away from here a little bit, come away from here. And then when we had that quick drop, I was expecting a drop down, which is why I wouldn't just consider that one. Because it is an inside bar anyway. If that had dropped down a few ticks below there, then I'd have considered it. The trouble is I haven't took a trade now for quite a few days, and I just wonder whether, because I had a couple of three losing trades in a row, whether I've sort of tightened up my belt a little bit. I don't feel like I'm avoiding trades or nervous about taking trades, but perhaps psychologically I need a winning trade, and that will sort of loosen my grip a little bit. But I think we do go through all these emotions, don't we? Sometimes we get a bit nervous. We go from completely careless to being overcautious, and I think I might be in that overcautious. I made a conscious decision to take slightly more riskier trades when we seemed to be struggling to get them, but they didn't work. So I think the trick is just if it means you only take 2 or 3 trades a week, then so be it. But if you can get on average 3 winning trades a week, trading 2 contracts, you can still make yourself plenty of money. It's going really slow here, isn't it? No trades for me yesterday, no trades today. How long have we been going for? Just coming up 3 hours. But yeah, that was all right, exponential. I like that. That was quite a clever little trade there. Bounce. I mean, we clearly had a break. Clearly made 2 legs down. It's always nice to make 2 legs after a break. And there was a lower high there. I can tell you something now. I bet there'll be some traders trapped there, and that drops, and then off it goes. So it's a clever little trade, I think, that. Excuse me just a second. Hello? Royal Institute of Blind People. It's not the best time for me. There may possibly be a second entry long. Same again, I'm just nervous around here. It's getting very clumpy. It's sideways a bit. We could get a little bit of sideways. We're getting close to this measured leg. We've already surpassed that 50% level, so I'm just not sure about going long here. It's definitely stacking up somewhat. I liked it. It's a bit risky. I'll be surprised if Mac doesn't mark that one. I think it was quite a clever little trade, actually. But sometimes you've got to weigh these up with the actual risk. And I think, what was it? What did I say? It was about 2.25 points. In the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of risk, really. But and we clearly had 3 bounces. I think it was quite a clever little trade. And you spotted it, mate. So kudos to you. I'm pretty sure Mac will mark it. He tends to spot those. Mac does. He does tend to mark those, especially when we have such a push down and a break. We sort of bounced here. We had a break. We went 2 legs down, bounced again, pushed off it, bounced again, rejected off it, bounced again, and that one there. And they'll be trapping. There'll be some. Surely there'll be some longs there. Sorry, shorts there trapped. So I think it was a clever little trade. Actually, it was sitting. Look how it was sitting. We got a touch, a touch, a touch, a touch. I like that. It's just sitting right on top of support. So I think that's a clever little trade. That give yourself a pat on the back for that one. I think we need a bit of a flush here. We getting 2 legs down. Would I take a long off here? That's a good question. I probably wouldn't, because we're struggling to get up a bit now. So I wouldn't be surprised if we had a bit of a drop or a bit more sideways. Let's have a look at this NQ. Yeah, we're definitely, see, if you call this the top of the channel, we're definitely coming away, aren't we? And we seem to be sort of flattening off a little bit there. I'd envisage a bit of a break there. I've taken trades like this 2 legs down when we've been struggling and I've got stung. So I tend to leave it alone. Now, having said that, if we, let's call this a first test. If we had a second test, if we had another one here, that might be a different story. But it's very tempting to take that. Have to see out what sort of size it is. Let's have a look. I mean, it is a second entry long. We're bouncing off this. Let's see what it ends up like. It's 10 ticks already. A tick above, tick below. That's 3 points. We're actually going into that midline as well. I'd much prefer that. Yeah, it's 11 ticks. It ain't finished yet. I'd much prefer the top of that body down here, somewhere in a bit of a longer wick. Okay, excuse me for a sec. I've just got a parcel coming from the door. I've just got to sign for. I'll be 1 minute. Okay. It's tough, this one. I'd like another test of it. Yeah, we're really struggling to get up now. It's gone very slow and we're struggling. I'd like to see a bit of a drop. Okay, we're at this key entry point now. This is interesting. Let's see what happens. See how I react here. Okay, there's that flush down I was expecting. Now let's see what happens.
Order submitted.
Maybe a higher low off here. We've come down here once, twice, 3 times. See what happens. No, I don't like this.
Order cancelled. Okay, so I do like that channel still. It still fits nice for me. There's a break out of it, so I'd still expect a new high. We got a touch, a touch, a touch. It's fitting nice. Touch, touch, touch. Oh, look at that. I haven't taken anything, bud. There's nothing that excites me. Pushed up there and dropped quickly, and now we've bounced here. God, it's a big bar, that 14 ticks. Tick above, tick below, 16 ticks. It's a 4-point risk. It's too much for me. If I haven't got that channel right and this is a break, we could have 2 legs up and then another leg down. Could be a triple test. 1, 2, 3. Who knows? That's tempting. Order submitted.
See how this finishes.
Order cancelled.
There is a possibility of a triple test. My only slight concern is we've got multiple touches there. Now, sometimes you've got to trust yourself. I still like that as a channel, in which case I'd expect it to make a new high. So getting stuck into a short, I would say, it's tempting, but I think it would be a mistake. There is a bounce off there, but that was a big ass bar, so no good for me.
So that bullish bar there, if we say once, twice, that's a triple test. Trouble is, it was a big ass bar. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. 4 points. I just don't want to risk 4 points. I mean, we'd had a leg down there, 2 attempts to go high in a bearish bar. It did trigger. Trading at the bank wanted their ice payment. Bloody selfish, aren't they? Banks. Yeah, if that was a little smaller, I may have had a go at that, but I'm not risking 4 points. Fail second entry short. Trouble is, you start to ask yourself, am I reading this wrong? Have we already had a break? And is this coming down now? And am I getting trapped? Is that going to trigger me, hit a triple test, and then come rocketing down? So the trouble is, I've been without a trade now for about 4 days, I think. And you can get yourself into that doubting thing, you know what I mean? I think the setup was good. We bounced once, twice, 3 times. Clearly bouncing off there. It's fitting perfectly, and it is a nice bullish bar. I pretty much, you're going to trap some shorts, but the trouble is it's 4 points, and you start to think, if I've got it wrong, I just don't want to be losing 4 points. That's off 3 accounts. That's $1,200. So, you know what I mean? So I think if there's any doubts, it is still sideways and a little bit choppy. So I think sometimes I may be being a little bit overprotective, but 4 points I think is a large risk. Considering the ATR is not even 2.5 points. You know, realistically, you add 2 ticks onto there, it should still be under 3 points. Well, that was 4. So I don't know. And you would be going long under the EMA. It's just one of those things. Well, I think I'm going to knock up the head today, guys. I've been going 3 hours and 20 minutes. Shame, but it's just one of those things. Trades-wise, yeah, that one. Will Matt mark that? Yeah, probably. My only slight issue is 4 points, so it's just too much risk at the moment. I'm glad I'm being sensible about it. Sometimes I just jump in without thinking. I did it a week and a half ago for a 6.5 point risk. But I like the channel, so it's probably going to make... But sometimes when we have these breaks, it bounces, goes sideways, goes up and down before it eventually makes it. It doesn't often drop and then push straight up lately, and that's what makes me nervous. And you know what trading is like? It's a lot of fine-tuning that brain, and there's so many different calculations going on there, and if one of those little calculations throws in some doubt, I think the safest option is to just trust it and stay out. You may miss a trade, but you're never going to lose a penny by missing a trade. So I think sometimes you're better off to lose a trade and stick with that gut feeling, I think. But it is a triple test. But, you know, I'm starting to ask myself, have I read this wrong? And is that a leg down with 2 attempts to go high in a bearish bar that's going to come down? But it's one of those things, isn't it? That one exponential took. I think that was quite a clever little trade there. We clearly had this channel down. We'd had a break, 2 pushes down to a new low, and it made a new low beautifully, and then rejected back up and sat nice on its high. Nice bearish pin bar right on that line, and you can see that line. In fact, you could even probably drop that line down to there or even there, however you want to look at it, but I liked it there. And we got a touch there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 5 nice touches there after the break 2 push there. So I think that's a clever little trade. I think it was about 2.25 point risk. So that trade I saw, but later. There is a higher low here, but same again, just too far from the EMA. We've already broken those highs. So nothing for me. There was a second entry long, but this was in a channel. Now, sometimes that'll trap you. It did try to come down. And in all honesty, it could have done. but it did work. It doesn't mean it was a good setup. For me, it was in a channel, so it's a no-no. Sort of 2 legs back, but it's a bit sideways and choppy. It isn't a great bar there. Push up, triple test, but it was an inside bar, so I can't take that. I just didn't want to trade anything here because we're so close to these highs. We got the 50% pullback there and the measured leg just above. So for me, going long in this area is a mistake. Now we've had a bit of a pullback, so it does seem like we're going to start to work up again. But I looked at that one. I don't think that was a bad setup. Trouble is, I start to question myself about that channel, and is this going to trap me? And if I'm going to get trapped, I don't want to get trapped for 4 points. Over 3 accounts, that's $1,200. That's too rich for my blood. So, same again. Marco finished early. He marked 2 setups. That one there, the 2 legs back. The trouble is, we'd had a channel. We'd already had a break. 2 legs down to a new low. So, you just don't know for me. It wasn't far off a neutral bar, and it was above the EMA. So, that one I'd have probably left. I was thinking, are we going to get a triple test here? Same again, an inside bar. Just didn't like that one. So just, I think Marco marked 2 of them. That one and that one. But in all this big move, there's just not a lot, really. It's just one of those days. Sometimes we get days, you know. I had a day about 3 weeks ago. I took 3 trades within 30 minutes. All worked beautifully. And then sometimes we just don't get a lot. But I think you've just got to stick to your plan, stick to your guns, and just do the best you can. But look, if you can get the equivalent of 2.5 winning trades per week on 2 contracts, that's $2,000 a month. It's a ton of money, really, when you can trade up to 20 accounts. So sometimes, you know, whether you're being a bit overcautious because you've had a few losses, but I think you've just got to follow your plan, do what you can do. So I've got no issues walking away and maybe missing that. It was a big risk, so I'm quite happy to not do it. But some days you're just going to get, you know, you may get a couple of weeks, a few weeks where things are a little bit tough. But there you go. I'm happy to walk away. I'd rather walk away on 0 than walk away on a deficit, so I'm okay with that. So same again, not a huge amount of movement today. This is where the market opened. We've had a push down and a pullback, so not a huge amount. But it's one of those things, isn't it? Some days it's just how it happens. But there you go. So I appreciate all your comments. If you're carrying on trading, best of luck. I hope you get a decent setup. Can't remember the last time we got a classic second entry long. They've sort of almost died off. But there you go. So I'll be back again tomorrow, Wednesday tomorrow. Hopefully we may get a trade. I need to get a trade to kickstart my mojo again. You know what it's like sometimes if you go without one for a while, you kind of feel in a bit of a lull, in a bit of a limbo, you know. So I think a winning trade would do me the world of good. If it means I've just got to be a bit overcautious till that happens, that's the way it is. So I'll be back same time tomorrow, so have a great evening, stay safe, and we'll do it all again, hopefully, for a better day tomorrow. Bye for now.